memo. Now for the top story tonight. Earlier today, I spoke with Mr. Trump. So as I said to the audience in the talking points, I think it's just fair to give you an opportunity to reply to the president, who said this today. Roll it.
The notion that he would attack a Gold Star family that had made such extraordinary sacrifices on behalf of our country. The fact that he doesn't appear to have basic knowledge around critical issues in Europe, in the Middle East, in Asia, means that he's woefully unprepared to do this job.
What say you?
I think he's the worst president maybe in the history of our country. I think he's been a disaster. He's been weak. He's been ineffective. You look at this so-called recovery, it's setting record lows. It's, I guess, not since 1949 has there been anything like it. You look at home ownership. Look at what happened as an example. He talks about Ukraine. I believe I know far more about foreign policy than he knows. Look at Ukraine. He talks about Ukraine. Well, you know how tough he is, right? How tough he is with Russia. In the meantime, they took over Crimea. And I understood that. And most papers covered what I said accurately. Some didn't because the press is so dishonest. But Crimea, I mean, the Russians took it over under Obama's very powerful leadership. And, you know, he talks about me with Russia. Wouldn't it be a wonderful thing, frankly, if we actually got along with Russia and worked out some kind of a deal where we go in and knock the hell out of ISIS along with NATO and along with countries that are in the area? Wouldn't that be wonderful as opposed to fighting? But Crimea was taken over, and you know this better than anybody because you were covering it a couple of years ago. It was taken over during Obama's regime, big tough president. So look, I think he's one of the worst presidents, maybe the worst that we've ever had in the history of our country. I think that Hillary Clinton maybe she has the potential to be even worse.
Right.
She will be terrible. Look at the lie. Look at the lies. Look at the lie over the weekend that she told about the FBI director. I mean, such a lie. I was listening to it. I said, how can anybody even say that after what was said about her?
Okay.
So I think she has the potential to be even worse.
Let me refocus you back on this Khan situation because the press is running wild with it. In hindsight, wouldn't it have been smarter for your campaign just to pretty much ignore him?
Well, you know, I was watching television. I said, isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? And all of a sudden I was viciously attacked on the stage of the Democratic National Convention by Mr. Khan. And I responded to that vicious attack. And what happened is the press took it and made it a big deal. Sure. And that's fine. I speak very well. Obviously, I mean, there's no greater sacrifice than you lose a son or a daughter, and you know, in the way that this happened, and I understand that. But regardless, I was viciously attacked. So I think I have the right. Am I supposed to not have the right to at least say something back?
But
and
then when you brought in the mother,
I don't even like talking about it because honestly, Bill, you just brought it up again, and it's already sort of falling into the background. This was a press event. The press played it day in, day out. CNN, which is
the same thing
totally dishonest. Let me just tell you. CNN, which is a totally dishonest group.
We'll get to CNN
just kept
in a moment.
playing it all.
All right. I can identify it. They did the same thing to me last week because I gave historical facts about how the White House was built.
I saw that, and it didn't stop.
So look, and they'll never stop. But look, here's what your supporters want to know. And some people are undecided who you need to persuade over to your camp. It wasn't wise to bring the mother in. I understand Khan, and I got that. You know, he's going to come after you, and he was obviously hired by the Clinton campaign to do that. It was orchestrated, as we just said in the talking points. Everybody knew the script. But the mother's just sitting there. And for you to bring her in, that gives them the opportunity. It just opens the door for them to come in and hammer you as this mean kind of guy.
I understand that, but, you know, part of it is I read a lot and I watch a lot. And many, many people discussed this. Many, many people, they said it. So when I said it, it became like a big deal. And that's, you know, the way it is. But I was very viciously attacked, and I said not very viciously back, and the press, especially CNN, I mean, because they're very dishonest. They must be having very bad ratings problems or something, which actually I hear they are. But they just kept it going, and it never stopped. And honestly, it's too bad.
All right, but the New York Times then drags out
tremendously unfair.
Right, but the New York Times today drags out
from
on page 1 your Vietnam, draft status.
Yeah.
By doing this, and I had to learn this the hard way with that despicable Al Franken. All right, if you go after somebody and you're punching down, as they say, all right, then the left-wing press is going to seize it and call you a racist and a bully and a sexist. And I mean,
I agree. I agree.
So
I agree.
in the future,
but
you just got to let it go.
You mentioned the New York Times. I'm on the cover of the New York Times like every day, sometimes 2 or 3 stories.
Yeah.
They are so dishonest.
But
First of all, they're totally
it
failing.
out.
They're losing a fortune.
They're waiting.
Sure.
See, they should have done the Vietnam thing when you got into that kerfuffle with John McCain. That would have been a time. But they held it because he's a Republican, so they didn't mind you hammering him.
Well, just so you understand, and so your viewers understand, nothing was wrong. I had some academic exemptions. It was a very minor thing. They didn't even talk about the draft number I got. I got a 356, I think it was, draft
so they
number.
Could have taken you in.
They didn't even mention that.
Before the lottery, they had said yeah. But it doesn't matter what they said. I mean, I'm just telling you.
What I'm saying, Bill, is this.
They're going to give it to you no matter what.
The New York Times is unbelievably dishonest. They're failing. It's a failing newspaper. It's losing a fortune. Probably it won't be around for more than 2 or 3 years. And, they write and they keep writing. And I believe if they write something wrong, I believe in fighting back a little bit. I don't know if I should. Maybe I shouldn't. But
it depends who you fight
Bill,
against.
so far it has been working, in all fairness.
If you want to beat me up, remember when you said I needed a psychiatrist? That's fine. People say, yeah, he does.
Well,
Trump's
but
right.
I said it kiddingly.
Yeah. But anyway, you can fight me. You can come at me. But if there's some little Muslim woman who loses her son, you can't. You just can't, no matter what she does. She could set you on fire, and you could say, thank you, I hated those trousers.
I know.
You just got to let it go. All right,
I didn't fight her.
Let's hold you over. We'll talk a little
But please
politics.
remember, I was viciously attacked, and all I did was respond to it, and it ends up being a 4-day story. So
we're going to hold Mr. Trump over, talk a little policy, talk a little politics, and we're going to run you his statement about the election may be rigged. That's interesting. And later, Black Lives Matter making unbelievable demands. Where do you hear them? Charles Krauthammer and I will sort it all out. Upcoming.
rigged. And I'm afraid the election's going to be rigged. I have to be honest.
Continuing now, Donald Trump joins us from his headquarters here in New York City. Why would you think that the election would be rigged?
Well, I'm looking at all of these decisions coming on down from the standpoint of identification, voter ID. And I'm saying, what do you mean? You don't have to have voter ID to now go in and vote? And it's a little bit scary. And I've heard a lot of bad things. I must say, 4 years ago, I was hearing a lot of bad things having to do with the Romney campaign where, when the vote came out, there were some districts that were really shockingly different from what they were anticipated to be. And I've been seeing it, and I've been hearing it a lot. But the whole thing with voter ID, identification, I think is really, people are going to walk in, they're going to vote 10 times maybe. Who knows? They're going to vote 10 times. So I am very concerned, and I hope the Republicans are going to be very watchful.
Yeah, they got to be vigilant.
I hope the authorities are going to be very watchful.
Okay.
Because I want to tell you, I believe it's going to be just like Bernie Sanders. I said it was rigged. Well, it's rigged here too, believe me. So I just hope the Republicans are going to be very watchful.
What about the Washington Post report today that you're not going to support John McCain's reelection or Kelly Ayotte in New Hampshire? Is that true?
I'm only thinking about it. I've never been a big fan of John McCain, and I just hate the way our veterans have been treated by John and other people. I hate it. I look at our veterans, how badly they've been treated, the suicides, the
what did John McCain
tremendously bad treatment.
Done to veterans, though.
Well, he should have grabbed that issue. That's his issue, and he should have grabbed it. I've never been happy about that. And by the way, you knew about that a long time ago when I was on your show.
Yeah, of course.
No,
we've been doing that.
Bill, I haven't made a decision on John McCain. And in New Hampshire, I'm leading by a lot. I'm doing great. And you have a senator who I don't know, who sort of doesn't want to get involved. And I'm doing better than she is. And I think that's fine. I mean, she's doesn't speak about me, but I'm doing very well in New Hampshire. I won it big in the
if you're
primaries.
president,
I think
you're
I'm
going to
win it again.
want you're going to want as many Republican senators and congresspeople as you can
I
get.
didn't say anything. I'm just saying if she's not involved with me, I'm just not involved with that. I'm very involved with New Hampshire. I love New Hampshire. I've done a lot for New Hampshire, and New Hampshire, frankly, likes me. But I have a nice lead in New Hampshire, and she doesn't.
Now, the Clinton campaign, as we analyzed last night, I don't know whether you saw the program, they're not going to go, it seems, head-to-head with you on issues. It doesn't seem like that's what they're going to do, because as you rightly pointed out, 1% growth, recovery worse since 1949, lowest home ownership in, 50 years? I mean, African-American poverty.
Our country's in trouble,
It's in trouble. So they're not going to go, they're not going to go with you head-to-head on issues. ISIS, they don't even mention it. But they are going to say, and they are making a very, very aggressive argument that you're just not temperamentally fit to hold this office. And I was at the game last night, the Yankee-Met game, and I'm talking to tons of people. You know, when I go to the game, we used to go to the games together. What do we have? Thousands of people want to talk to us? And that's what they're talking about, that can Trump handle the pressure? Can Trump do this? And how are you going to rebut those constant attacks?
Well, I think my whole life has been about handling pressure. I think I have a great temperament for winning because I know how to win. She's a loser. She doesn't know how to win. She's got a temperament not to win. And, her whole campaign is based around the word temperament. And if you look at her, look at the man who wrote the book from the Secret Service, said she's a basket case. She's a total, you talk about temperament.
But you can make money writing those books,
crazy.
though.
No, but wait a minute.
If you slam Trump, if you slam Clinton, you can make some money. So you got to be careful about that.
I think she's got a bad temperament for winning. I don't think she's a winner. And our country has to win. Hey, look, you've known me a long time. You know more about my temperament than probably most people. And what I've done my whole life is win. I win. And you saw that. We had 17 people, and I ended up winning very easily, by the way. Not like tough. Very easily.
That's because people
winning
want
by
change.
The biggest margin ever.
They want change. They don't want conventional
change.
politics.
And by the way, and that's her second part. She said she's the person of change. The reason she has to say that is because things are going so badly. When you look at a 1%, 1.2% growth, that means we're dying. Okay, we're dying.
Yeah.
China, if they're at 7 or 8%, actually what they do is they start devaluing their currency. That's what they do. But if they're at 7 or 8%, that's considered terrible. We're at 1%, Bill. We are dying. And you look at everything else. We're failing with ISIS. We're failing in every category.
Well,
so
if it's issues,
I think my temperament is great for winning.
All right, but that's where they're coming at you on the temperament issue. And we always appreciate you coming on. We know how busy you are. Thank you, Mr. Trump. We appreciate it. Directly ahead.